Welcome everybody, this is Q and Kyle, and we're powered this series with Louisiana Catalyst with a focus on workforce development. And today I'm happy to bring in VC with the Small Business Development Center at ULM. VC, we're happy to have you today.
Thank you, and good morning.
Good morning. I do have a question before we jump into the SBDC. So you have a chemistry background, right?
Yes,
That's like you have 2 degrees.
Yeah.
And you worked a little bit in that capacity. So how did you get from that kind of scientific, technical world to you got your MBA and now you're in the SBD, kind of the business space? What is it? Was there an experience or a moment in time where you were like, you wanted to make that?
Well, every reaction needs one word, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes back to your brand itself, Catalyst. So I was entrepreneur lifelong, and I was always attached to business world. And then I ended up as a research scientist, worked 4 years. And at some point that catalyst acted, and I said, no, I need to do that trajectory rather than just working in the lab. I need to get out and need to see the world and need to see how the business environment actually work. And I end up in, somehow I picked ULM, which is a great university, great reputation. Came here, enjoyed, finished my MBA and met Dr. Paul Dern. And that was, I think, the final catalyst to the reaction that plugged me into the business world or entrepreneurship journey. And you know how addictive it is.
Sure. Right. Very nice. I was curious. I kind of have a technical background too, so I was curious what that catalyst for you was. So.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Which I think that research background probably is huge for you with now being in, and if you want to expand on a little bit with the LSBDC and what all y'all do and how that background in research is so valuable now to entrepreneurs.
Yeah, sure. Great point, Quentin. Research and business, they go hand in hand. And in Louisiana Small Business Development Center at ULM, we take care of the business from various angles. Whether it is cash flow analysis or financial projection or business plan or branding or strategies, growth. You are in the same field, you're in business, you're in finance field, you're in business field. You know, without doing the basic research, there is no point in starting a business, right? So that research stays there. Like research is the backbone of any business. Without understanding the market, if you're jumping into that, then what's the point, right? If there are 5 daycares within 5-mile radius, then do you really need a 6th one when there are not enough kids? Have you done your research? Because if you do not do your research, then what are the chances of being successful? Pretty much none. Right. So at some level, that research is the trigger action, knowingly or unknowingly, because research goes in 2 ways. One is primary, other one is secondary. Primary is based on what me and you are talking. First-hand information. What do you think the market is? We are going out talking to customers or potential clients and just taking their feedback. Do you need another retail? What kind of retail you're looking for? And vice versa. And then secondary comes in where you do in-depth research using some software tools. And SBDC has that capacity that we can go and dig in data if we need to. Again, it's a non-profit, so I wish we can have some multi-million research software, which we don't. But it gives enough information that's required for a small business. Right. How many competitors are there? Who's your rival, right? What do you really need a business in certain zip code, or you're just adding to that like same part and trying to pull from some other businesses? Restaurants are classic, right? We see them coming up, popping up and going out. Some stays. Some do better research than others. Right. And that's like first conversation, like me and you or you, whenever we had these conversations, we start from what do you think about the market? Right. Right.
Yeah, so like one of the first experiences I had with VC is I learned about a leakage report. Mm-hmm. And so I was amazed because I'm like, I did not know this data was out here, you know. So I was able to pull by zip code, parish, city, and basically look at the dollars that were leaving the parish per industry. Mm-hmm. So I literally could see that, yes, Union Parish was in need of a sporting goods store. And this was before K&M had came in. Mm-hmm. So you could see that, you know, $500,000 leaving the parish just for sporting goods. You know, in every other industry, what was oversaturated and where there was a need. So just that alone was huge for me to see, like, okay, from an economic development standpoint, these are things we need to chase and bring in. And we have the data to actually show that there's a need for it. And that was straight from you.
No, that's a good point. And those viewers who do not understand the leakage or surplus, it's in simple sense, are there too many businesses, or is there still room for another one, or is there room for growth?
Right.
So think from different angle. Let's say you are in certain retail. Can you add some complementary business based on the gap?
Right.
Is there a gap in the market? Are there enough clients or clientele? And then comes your online sale. That's a whole different story. So SBDC again comes in, and what we have shared, many parishes actually, many chambers and parishes, they use the data. Many mayor's office, they request us some sort of data if we can provide them. And we do this research now and then again, like if any of our resource partners need that. And that's a valuable information. And
Absolutely.
as you mentioned, if there's no requirement of a sporting goods store in certain zip code, then why are you starting it? Right? You're just competing against each other for the same clientele, and both businesses will suffer.
Right.
And again, it's a long term, it's not a short term. So you don't want any big box store coming in and just taking over by reducing the prices, because one thing we do not do is fight on price in small businesses.
Right.
Right. For those that don't know, I'm assuming if somebody's watching it, they're not familiar with what SBDC is or what they do. So Louisiana Small Business Development Center, for somebody, whether they're considering starting a business or have started or looking to grow, what type of a resource or what type of resources do you guys provide for, aspiring and or current, entrepreneur?
So let me first explain what SBDC, or in abbreviation we call LSBDC. That's Louisiana Small Business Development Center. We are funded by federal and state. Federal partner is SBA, state partner is Louisiana Economic Development. And then we are cash matched by the host institute. We have around 10 centers throughout the state. Any center you go to, we are that listening ear or people. They care about what you're trying to do. And we'll sit down and we'll hear your story. We'll listen to you, what you're trying to achieve. And then we work together, holding your hand and walking you through the process. The process could be starting a business. Process could be growth strategy. Process could be simply going and analyzing your own business. And you both know very well, running a business takes many tools.
Right.
It starts from just not marketing, branding, but it goes to your accounting as well, goes to your expenses, goes to your seasonality. All that we focus on. So that's a tool. It's a no-cost service. We do not charge anything at any point. We prepare you for two things. If you're a startup or expansion looking for a bank to go to, we prepare you for the banker. Right. So you're not going and being half prepared, because when you want to go and talk to a banker, you want to impress them by some basic standards. You have your financial plan ready, you have your business plan ready, you have your resume, you know your credit scores, which we kind of guide them. Know your credit history and score. Right. You do not want to have few dings, because that will extend the timeline. So think about very simple things. Sometimes some credit bureaus accidentally will put your wrong information. Right. And a bank may be pulling the same credit bureau, and all of a sudden you're saying, oh, you are not matching. So that there is a process to, again, fix those, but that takes time. Right. So when you're negotiating a deal with one business or other business, you do not really want to delay, because you're catching that wave. If you want to open an ice cream shop, that catching that April, May is very crucial. Right. So
wait until November.
Well, in November probably you can go for ice cream cones with hot waffles. So, right. So there are always like discussions. So we are that helping hand, to be honest. Okay, all our consultants are pretty seasoned. We mostly are pretty strong in many industries. But if still we need a specific industry, we can find that throughout the state, and we provide that resource. One thing I didn't see in last 15 years of career with SBDC, we do not let a client just go and make bunch of phone calls. We will tell them, okay, this is the office you need to talk, even if we do not know anything about that. That's
Right.
kind of the culture we live in.
Right.
Oh, that's excellent. I'll speak on from a banking standpoint, which is crucial in a sense of when, as a banker, when we have someone with a lending background, one of the biggest difference of getting comfortable with a deal is the business owner's knowledge and background and research they've done before coming to me, right? Because that gets me comfortable knowing they've done the research, they've done a lot of digging and not just coming in with a dream. So absolutely, and that's why y'all have always been a critical partner.
And as a banker, you know that, both of you know that very well. Sometimes businesses think they need a lot of money or they can survive with little.
Right.
But as we always discuss, if you need to build a house, can you live without a roof?
Right.
Or can you live without one of the major pillars? You
Solid
cannot.
foundation.
Right.
Right? You need a solid foundation. If you need all the money, you need all of that.
Right.
Right.
But then sometime you can play with the finances as well because it's coming in phases.
Right.
You may not need the full loan, but you can go for part loan and part line of credit for inventory.
Right.
So there are smart ways to handle, and that's when we recommend the clients to go and talk to the banker. What are the ways, if there are challenges, how they can go and do by it. Now, if you want to open a store and there uncertainty, which we are living in right now, we do not know how it's going to unfold. And it's a proven fact. Inflation is really high. And we do not know how COVID is playing a role in not just in the United States, but outside in the world. And there's an impact on the supply chain as well. So in that arena, do you really want to go and spend $5 million on a brick and mortar store? Or you want to come up with some smart options and taking things online, or maybe starting from those innovative spaces or some cells or incubators that you can start your business, not typically retail business, but there are many businesses like that.
Right.
Maybe online is one of the things, and we are recommending many clients, to be honest, because since pandemic, we have seen a gig economy coming up pretty big, and you know
Right.
that very well.
Right.
So with that gig economy, they typically do not need banks for major amount of money, but they need little.
Right.
When you have little, what you do, you play smart with that.
Right.
And online is one thing. This is like kind of mandatory these days. I wish they can have like, okay, with the license, you have to have a website.
Right.
Because if no one can find you, then you do not exist.
Right. Right. I appreciate you shedding light on that, though. There's been, I couldn't tell you how many conversations I've had over the last, really 3 years when I first took that leap of faith. It's like one of the big things people say is I'm scared to, they'll have this idea and they're scared to do it because they think it takes so much money to pursue it. In some cases it does, right? But until you really dive into it. But really having a resource like that is free and can guide you. And
No
there's so
cost.
much to learn, right? So
Yeah.
it's a huge asset to have, and so I appreciate you shedding some light on that. I hope somebody sees this.
Yeah, and on top of that, we also provide some trainings. Specialized training and then generalized, because you think about it, we conduct roughly around 30 plus workshops in 1 year. We are a very small setup in Northeast Louisiana. We cover 15 parishes. We are 2 full-time, pretty much we are only 1.5 consultant and 1 part-time training coordinator, 1 specialized training coordinator. That's towards Roundtable SEBD, that's our Louisiana Economic Development Program. And that's about it. So we play really smart, and we are playing smart for a long time. So we conduct those specialized training, contracting opportunities. Sometime we want, even we are going the direction of how to start a website business.
Right.
How to start like basic things. Your chemistry again coming out. You know my love for that. But your computer science or your IT background, and all of a sudden you want to start something where you can do programming for website, editing for website, or make it look really nice and pretty. You're collaborating. What you do? You don't go and invest in 5 office space building. You come to the smart options.
Right.
And then it's up to you how to find those smart options. And to be honest, Catalyst is one of the options in the middle of kind of where it's required, right? It's just not in very far away where probably tenant can afford $1,000 a month or
Right.
something. Now this is right in next door. So those trainings, those counseling, those mentoring are very crucial and critical. If you hear your personal career, you have a mentor, is the same thing. Why don't you have that mentor in your business?
Right.
Right.
Right? If someone has done that, why are you reinventing the wheel? You need to
Right.
act smart rather than really like, yeah, you have to work hard, but
For sure.
you have to act smart too.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm hoping this year we can, with COVID and everything, kind of set us back the last couple of years, but the collaboration between Catalyst and SBDC, and we can really start pushing some workshops.
Oh yeah, definitely. We love to come down here and start teaching. And as I said, we kind of bring in some speakers. There are some topics, those are typically addressing towards the strength of the region.
Right.
And we always talk about the weaknesses, which is good to know, and we should work on those. But sometimes those strengths should also be focused on.
Right.
What are the strengths? We are ag-based 15 parishes economy, right? So what other economies or what other kind of similar businesses can grow with that?
Right.
So it's sometimes brainstorming. We minimum take 2 people to conduct a training or workshop. We require 2 at least to start with. But sometimes it requires only 3 people to start one business. Sometimes you can teach 300 and still you don't get anything, right? But you're sharing knowledge. And sometimes SBDC is just not about starting a business, growing a business. During COVID, we have experienced that when we are helping clients, we are helping businesses with EIDL, PPP, that counseling, they're removing their hurdles. We are going towards SBA, guiding them in the right direction. We don't have much leverage in terms of checking your application, but we know what not to do. And
Right.
if you are stuck somewhere, there are some regular Q&A. We are in touch with SBA, and we are not based on rumors. We don't work like that. You know how many rumors were going around, and SBA never shares those kind of directives. And once they share with us, we are sharing with the client.
Right.
So it's first-hand information. So sometimes it's just not about starting a business. Sometimes it's like you're not ready yet.
Right.
You need to do your homework before you can reach that spot. In fact, during COVID, we have conducted one, Take the Leap, and that was 4-class workshop. And that starts from what you need before you start your business or even thinking in that direction. And once you finish those 4 classes, now you're better prepared to keep thinking that direction. Now you see some holes in your business plan.
Right.
Then what you do, you go and start working on that. If you're looking 20,000 from a bank, and Quentin will say, yeah, it looks good, your plan is good, but you need to work on your little bit history, credit history.
Right.
Can you do that? How about this? Can you bring in, instead of 20%, can you bring 40%? There are options, right?
Right.
So those things are very important, especially resources like Catalyst in middle of this region. It will help.
Yeah, and I'll touch on, one of the things too is it's not what people want to hear, but sometimes even alone, it's not the best way to start that business.
Nope.
You just may have to save up and put that hard equity in, because we get a lot of requests and like with the World of Vision tour that we did and talking and speaking on banking, it was like, sometimes you don't want to borrow money and create a liability, and now you have this payment and you have no revenue coming in, you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's the barrier and the hurdle, right, to starting that business. You may need to come up with $25,000, and that may need to look like an investor, or it may take you 3 years to save up for that business, and a lot of people don't want to hear that. They want the instant gratification, and if you can't get past that hurdle, you're probably not going to want to do what it takes to make that business work.
No, you literally said like one of the best thing I heard in many years now, and that's your knowledge as a banker, as involved in the community. Sometimes bank is not the best option. There are other alternative sources of funding as well. But again, let me be very honest, grants is not some of the things you typically go after.
Right.
And then having debt at low interest rates and all, that sounds very fantastic. But do you really want to have a debt just to get a low interest loan? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
If you can live without that, That's the interest you are actually saving. Yeah, debt is sometimes beautiful for businesses of certain style, and you should carry that. But when you're starting, you need to save all your pennies.
Right.
So you are not cutting down on services. You are not cutting down on the quality.
Right.
Versus you are being innovative and you're engaging your customers.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes you start a little bit, and then you kind of grow in and phase it in, know. But and y'all help with that,
Yeah.
I know after our conversations last week, which was a good time down in Baton Rouge, I know y'all are starting to focus on growth and retention. Is that a focus? You wanna
Definitely.
touch on
And
that?
probably you might already know Dean Bogg with Louisiana Economic Development. He's one of the reps from LED down here, and we are going after growth and retention because it's a typical cycle.
Right.
COVID happened. We have seen what has happened, and there are resources available. And now we are in a phase where we have to focus on growth and retention because I do not know gig economies, they come and go most of the time, and nobody knows in which what we are going to see next 2 years. We can predict, but we can always prepare. What we do before hurricane, we prepare, right? We are getting into disaster, and that's one of the things I'm glad I'm bringing that out, and you kind of triggered that. Disaster preparedness is one of the critical aspect of running a successful business. What's coming next? That could be hurricane, that could be tornado, that could be COVID now, right? And then again, being innovative is something that's as simple as those influencers in Instagram, TikTok, and all these. Again, depends on your customer, right? So I think we can talk for hours about this.
Yeah, no, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you guys, what at SBDC, what website, what's the best way to get in touch with you guys?
So one thing you can do is www.lsb. Let me scratch that. Okay, that was our old website. So that was my kind of trick of getting you engaged. Okay? The new website is www.LOUISIANA.SBDC.org. You can directly call us at 318-342-1224. Leave a voicemail and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And most of the time we pick the phone, definitely. If not, within 24 working hours, we'll get back to you.
Cool.
Through the website, you can request counseling assistance directly. And then we are again in the process of revamping many things. We have a new state director, Brian Greenwood, which Quentin, you met during Northern Exposure. He's a compliance person. He has a clear vision type of person. So it will be a great team, to be honest, in coming next 6 months to work with. So that's how you can reach us, either online or just call us, or word of mouth floats a lot.
Sure.
Ask some of the successful businesses in the town. We have worked with most of them. We start roughly around 20 businesses each year. And we work with roughly same or more existing businesses, and we generate around 7 million cap infusion each year. So we do work a lot. So we cannot promote all of them because they have to sign that NDA and all. But we respect the privacy of our client, and we do not do that. We don't compromise that.
Sure.
So everything we do is confidential. So if they allow us, we definitely go and shout out about our successes. But mostly ask any of the successful businesses in town, and they will vouch on us.
Sure.
Right.
That's awesome. We'll definitely include that information, the links, and the
Yes,
phone
sir.
number and all that. And when we release all this, VC, I really appreciate you taking some time to come hang out with us at an episode of Burn This Ship, powered by Catalyst, where we aspire to inspire, but also be a valuable resource to those that are considering starting a business or in business and ready to take that next big step. So appreciate you taking time to shed some light on the LSBDC, and cool. We'll catch y'all on the flip side.